All rise for Judge Amy. Hello, and welcome to the only episode of Amy's Courthouse. My name is Amy, and today we're talking about a court case that I've never heard of until watching Yesterworld. I think that's the name of the channel. They're the ones who make content about theme parks and other stuff. Well, they made a video about McDonald's Land, and in that video, they mentioned how Sid and Marty Krofft sued McDonald's because they copied HR Pufnstuf. So let's get into it in this video. Sid and Marty Krofft Television Productions Inc. versus McDonald's Corp. was a 1977 case in which puppeteers and television producers Sid and Marty Krofft alleged that the copyright in their HR Pufnstuf Jones television program had been infringed by a series of McDonald's McDonaldland advertisements. The finding introduced the concepts of extinct and ink-strength tests to determine substantial similarities. Sid and Marty Krofft belong to the fifth generation of a family of puppeteers who have been successfully putting on puppet shows around the country, including Les Poupées de Paris, the puppet show. They had created the puppets for Hanna-Barbera's children's show, The Banana Splits, and then in 1968, the NBC network asked them to create a Saturday morning cartoon. And after a year of development, the HR Pufnstuf program was launched in September of 1969. The program includes various puppet characters and a boy named Jimmy who lives in a fantasy island called Living Island. The island has walking trees and books that talk. The show is very successful and generated various spin-off products such as toys, games, comic books, lunchboxes, and Kellogg's cereal commercials. Early in 1970, the advertising agency Needham, Harper, and Steers contacted Marty Krofft asking if the Kroffts would be willing to work with Needham on an advertising campaign for the McDonald's hamburger chain based on the HR Pufnstuf characters. Various telephone conversations followed to discuss the concept, and on the 31st of August 1970, Needham sent a letter saying it was going ahead, but soon after, Needham telephoned to say the campaign had been canceled. Needham had in fact won the contract for the campaign, hired former employees of the Kroffts to work on the sets and costumes, and hired the person who supplied the HR Pufnstuf voices to make the voices for several McDonald's characters, the first of which was broadcast in January 1971. Following the launch of the McDonaldland campaign, the Kroffts were unable to license or renew HR Pufnstuf spin-off products. The Ice Capades, which had used their characters, eventually began to use the McDonaldland characters. The Kroffts filed a suit for copyright infringement in 1971. The district court began a 3-week trial by jury in November 1973. The jury was shown episodes of HR Pufnstuf and McDonaldland broadcasts, and examples of merchandise based on the shows and commercials. They were instructed that in finding damages, they should not consider McDonald's profits, but could consider the value that McDonald's had gained by using the Kroffts' work. The jury found in favor of the Kroffts and assessed damages at $50,000. Both the plaintiffs and defendants appealed. The United States Courts of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit heard the appeal and published its lengthy decision on the 12th of October 1977. On the question of infringement, the court quoted Judge Learned Hand's abstractions test, defined in Nichols versus Universal Pictures Corp. In this, the judge defined successive layers of abstraction from the words themselves, which are subjected to copyright, up to the most general statement of ideas, which is not. He said that the point where an expression was subject to copyright lay somewhere in between. To help find what that point was, the court defined extrinsic and intrinsic tests. In the extrinsic test, the work would be analyzed by an expert to determine similarities in factual aspects including the type of artwork involved, the materials used, the subject matter, and the setting for the subject. The intrinsic test would decide whether an ordinary, reasonable person would consider there were substantial similarities in expression. A jury is well fitted to determine this. The court found that both the extrinctive and intrinsic tests showed that there were substantial similarities, rejecting the defendant's detailed list of differences, which the target audience of children would ignore. A footnote said, even a dissection of the two works revealed their similarities. The Living Island local of Pufnstuf and McDonaldland are both imaginary worlds inhabited by anthropomorphic plants and animals and other fanciful creatures. The dominant topographical features of the forest of talking trees that have human faces and characteristics. The characters are also similar. Both lands are governed by mayors who have disproportionately large round heads dominated by long, wide mouths. They are assisted by Keystone Cop characters, and both lands feature strikingly similar to Crazy Scientist and a multi-armed evil creature. It seems clear that such similarities go beyond merely the fact into the area of expression. The court also noted that Needham clearly had access to Pufnstuf since the representatives had visited the Krofft headquarters to discuss engineering and design work for the commercials, even after they had been awarded the McDonald's contract and had decided not to use the Kroffts. The court rejected the claim that the First Amendment limited the degree to which copyright could be extended to Pufnstuf, saying that the other courts had long ago determined that copyright and the First Amendment were compatible, since copyright protected the form of expression only, while the First Amendment protected the right to present the ideas in some other form of expression. On damages, the court discussed at some length whether the jury should have been instructed to ignore profits. The court felt that a successful plaintiff should be entitled at least to the greater of the damages or profits, and one of the judges felt they should be entitled to the sum of the two. If profits could not be determined accurately, the plaintiff should be entitled to in lieu damages. The case was remanded for an accounting, after which the district court could choose to award in lieu damages. Following the remand, the trial court could not decide how much McDonald's sales had been due to the advertisements, so it could not measure the resulting profits. Instead, the court decided to calculate statutory damages using a formula based on the number of copyrights and the number of infringements, treating each commercial or promotional item as a single infringement, rather than each airing of a commercial or each sale of an item as an infringement. This yielded a total award to the Kroffts of $1,044,000. I prematurely knocked my gavel. Also, this isn't a gavel. It's a back scratcher. But I couldn't end this video off without telling you one thing. This isn't my final HR Pufnstuf video. I'm not collabing, but I got some help with another HR Pufnstuf video about the Todd Kaufman reboot that never happened or whatever. I said it was lost media. I was wrong. I got all the information I needed for that video. It's gonna come soon. When? I don't know when. I got a schedule. I'm busy. And the next video that's coming after this video is the Osmonds and the Jackson 5. So yeah, court is adjourned.